Well, hey guys, happy Thanksgiving to those of you here in the US. I was going through Amazon. I just can't believe the skincare deals they have on stuff that I am always recommending. So I thought I would just do a roundup for today's video since I know a lot of you guys are shopping today. I thought this would be a fun video to do, and I'm all festive. Check it out. I have another sweatshirt that I got, like the one I wore in this past weekend's vlog. Yeah, they're really comfortable. I bought these a couple of weeks ago. For body care specifically, alpha hydroxy acids. There's some evidence that using a glycolic or lactic acid body lotion can visibly improve sun damage, whether it be on your arms, your legs, your chest. Like, that's actually been examined in randomized controlled trials, peer-reviewed, published. Glycolic and lactic are widely available in body moisturizers. When I say lactic acid, I'm also including ammonium lactate. Now, what these do is they help dissolve little desmosomes, allowing for better desquamation, shedding of the top layer of the skin so it gets smoother, and also helping long-term with water retention and with better barrier function. Now, they do mildly exfoliate as well, helping to clear up discoloration. Through the improved water retention, you also get just an overall brightening up of overall skin tone through light scattering from the improved hydration. There are some amazing fragrance-free body moisturizers I recommend all the time that are markedly discounted. Let's start with Eucerin. I've said it before, they do not make a bad moisturizer. The Eucerin Intensive Repair Lotion right now is like the least expensive I've ever seen it, and it's not as though this is like a wallet breaker to begin with, but this moisturizer I know has become a holy grail for a lot of you, because anytime I mention it, I get comments. Oh my gosh, I use that. That's my go-to. It can be used on the face, the rest of the body. It has lactic acid, but also has urea in it, and it has ceramides. This is a great head-to-toe cold weather product, and it also can help in improving the visible signs of sun damage. The Eucerin lotion is really thick, but it's not like super oppressive or sticky. It sinks into the skin nicely, super lightweight. Then there's Alpha Care's glycolic acid lotion. Glycolic acid, like I said, helps with improving the visible signs of sun damage and hydration. Really good if you have discoloration. That is a great option, markedly discounted. Then you've got amlactin. Now, amlactin specifically has a 12%, which I frequently recommend because lactic acid, ammonium lactate, which is what is in amlactin, 12% or higher strength has been shown to improve epidermal thickness and dermal thickness. So once you start getting into these strengths, an advantage is that it improves thickness of the deeper layers of the skin. In fact, topical alpha hydroxy acids have been shown to be beneficial for preventing and reversing atrophy in the skin related to corticosteroid use. So if you watch my videos from way back a couple of years ago on how to reverse skin thinning, something that happens with age, this is one way. Okay, this is one way. So it actually can give a firming effect and definitely plump up the skin surface, and with long-term use, improve the deeper layers of the skin, helping to improve the appearance of wrinkles. That one is markedly discounted. As a side note, all of these, they are excellent options if you have keratosis pilaris, if you have dry, rough elbows and knees with that thick, lichenified skin. Lichenification is what happens to the skin when it gets thickened from chronic rubbing and friction. It gets dry and discolored. It looks like hyperpigmentation, but it's lichenification. Atopic dermatitis, aka eczema, can become that way. That is a chronic eczema. It comes from rubbing the skin, lichenification. This is a great set of ingredients, formulations for tackling that head on, smoothing the skin. Now, a lot of you guys are using retinol body lotions and you wonder, can I use those and this? Yes, you can. Now, keep in mind, retinol plus alpha hydroxy acid together, the combination can be irritating. So if you're jumping all in, be aware that can happen, but you can use them. I suggest applying the retinol at night. You might want to put on the alpha hydroxy acid lotion in the morning, okay? Because putting two lotions on back to back, it's kind of a lot. So that's one way to do it. Side note, make sure you are protecting your skin, as you should be anyway, okay? Make sure you're protecting your skin from the sun when you use alpha hydroxy acids, because they do make you a bit more susceptible to a sunburn. Speaking of sunburn and sunscreen, this is a repurchase for me, the Anua Zero Cast. This is a water-resistant SPF 50 chemical sunscreen. If you watched my video from over the summer on top 3 sunscreens I am loving at the moment, this made the cut. It's a chemical sunscreen sunscreen, which that's my preference. I like using chemical sunscreens. It does not burn or sting around the eyes. It's hydrating. It's not greasy. It's water resistant. 80 minutes, which was really perfect here, especially this summer with the humidity, because the nice thing about water resistant formulas is that they stay on a little bit better when you're sweating so that they're less likely to seep into the eyes. Fragrance free. So that is currently on sale. Plus, earlier this week, I reviewed this one for you and I realized it is on sale too. It's the Daily Tinted Fluid Sunscreen from Beauty of Joseon. This is a tinted zinc oxide containing sunscreen. Technically, it's a hybrid sunscreen because it has butyl octyl salicylate in it, a SPF booster, which is very similar to octisalate. It does not have a heavy cast. It does require a bit of effort to spread on the skin. There's a bit of streakiness as you're putting it on in the beginning, but relative to mineral sunscreens in general, even though again, like I said, that's technically a hybrid sunscreen, the spread is not too bad. It's a thin fluid. I love the tint on this. It comes in 12 shades as a side note. I got MP 200 and that has worked out really well for me. I've worn it in many videos. I was able to tolerate this around my eyes, no problem. I mean, it's a mineral sunscreen. Now, the thing about tinted sunscreens that I reviewed in that video, but as a reminder, the iron oxides may protect against visible light, namely HEV wavelengths in the blue, that's blue light essentially from the sun. Okay, you don't really have to worry about the blue light from like your phone and things like that, but the blue light from the sun is a big driver actually for melasma, especially in medium to deep skin tones. It's actually being routinely recommended that patients who have hyperpigmentation, whether it be melasma or post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, choose tinted sunscreens because they may offer some additional protection against those wavelengths. That would be a great choice. Clay can be very helpful for those of you who have oily skin. You wake up and your face is like really shiny, greasy. You can use a clay mask to absorb some of the oil from the surface of the skin and from within the pore. This can be helpful not only for just oily skin in general, but if you have seborrheic dermatitis, it can be very helpful because seborrheic, excessive oiliness, is a big part of that condition in general. Clay masks don't unclog pores, they don't detoxify the skin, they don't suck stuff up out of the pore. That lingo is a reach, but they definitely can help to degrease the surface of the skin in a gentle fashion without stripping the skin. So I've reviewed many clay masks over the years, and a lot of the Korean brands really bring in some solid offerings as far as clay masks. I have really enjoyed this Poremizing Quick Clay Stick from Madagascar Skin 1004. The stick applicator is really nice. You don't have to get your fingers in that clay and rub it all around, so it's a little less messy. And you can just put it to areas of the face that tend to get shiny, like your T-zone, for example. This is a pairing that I really like personally as far as delivering hydration, smoothing out little dehydration wrinkles, prepping the skin, moisturizing the skin through hydration, helping to give better snap, plumpness, and elasticity. And it's the double stack of the 6-peptide booster from CosRx and the advanced Snail 96 Mucin Power Essence. So this is a product I discovered a few years ago. I've gone through multiple bottles at this point. It lasts a very long time because you get 150 milliliters and you don't need very much. You can actually use this on the body. It has a variety of peptides. It has niacinamide, the workhorse of the skincare industry, which is good for discoloration, the moisture barrier, redness. It has a variety of peptides that may or may not, improve the health of your collagen, but they are helpful for hydrating the skin. It has natural moisturizing factors, and it's a really great way to just prep the skin for any serums that you might be using to perhaps get better penetration of some of the ingredients. I have really enjoyed this. So I like to use this first thing in the morning to a clean face, and then I love Snail Mucin. As you can see, I go through this pretty quickly. The thing I like about Snail Mucin is it really helps to, this one in particular, plump, smooth, brighten through light scattering due to the improved hydration, and ultimately, you know what it does? It makes the pores look smaller. It really does. And this stacking in particular, I love. This is one of my favorite morning routine duos here, is these two, and then put sunscreen on over, and the skin is like clear, bouncy, snap, recoil, ready to go. Now, another thing I want to talk about though, as far as antioxidants, Coenzyme Q10. It's kind of slept on. It is a topical that actually shows promise for A, good penetration in the penetration studies into the skin, B, for improving your skin's own levels of Q10, which is an antioxidant really important in mitochondrial health, naturally declines with age, yippee skippy, UV, but the studies on topical ubiquinone show that it can get into the skin and help improve the levels in your skin. And that's great for warding off environmental aggressors. It's an ingredient that is not necessarily going to lend itself to any kind of instant gratification. You're not really going to see much on the surface of the skin. I view it as an ingredient or a skincare product that kind of is helping to replace something that is not really optimally there, like a dietary supplement for your skin that you are applying directly to your skin because you probably have less than optimal levels of it compared to when you were, I don't know, 17, right? Ubiquinone also gets depleted when we go out in the sun and are exposed to UV. But a product that I think is amazing is the Timeless Q10 serum. Everyone talks about their vitamin C serum, right? Because it is like following the formula of the CE ferulic that we were always trying to copycat for, I get it. I get the hustle. And I've reviewed that one. It was fine for me. If you want an ascorbic acid serum with ferulic acid and vitamin E, that's a reasonable one to use, and it does not break the bank. I am much more interested and enjoy using far more their Q10 serum. The thing about it is that you do want to shake it up before you apply it because it does have a tendency to separate out, but that has been an amazing one for me. I need to reintroduce it at some point, but back when I was using it consistently, I felt it was a great first step in a morning skincare routine, sort of as a lightweight moisturizer. And then I'd put my sunscreen on, which again, sunscreens are moisturizers if you didn't know, and that pairing together was really nice. You had the antioxidant on there from Q10 to kind of help with all the environmental aggressors, and then, the sunscreen. It's a really nice environmental protection package first thing in the morning. So I really love that. Now, we've talked about this year a lot of Milky Toners. Milky Toners to me are like a moisturizer for people who don't like putting moisturizer on their face. They don't like films on their face. They don't like heavy stuff. Maybe you have really oily skin, thicker skin, and you don't really find that you need moisturizers, but you like better hydration in the skin. You don't want something heavy. Milky Toner might be the way to go. They've become very popular with this trend of skin flooding, where you put a lot of different liquids on your face, essentially. You don't need to do that, but a Milky Toner can be great. And two that I personally have fallen in love with this year, 2025 favorites. The first comes from Celamax. This is a repurchase for me, the Dual Barrier Creamy Toner. Now, this is interesting. It has a peptide in it called aquatide, which allegedly is going to do stuff with our autophagy recycling pathways. One can only hope, all right? But this I love because it hugs the skin and then sinks in and quenches. Really nice formula. Very close to the Rhode Milky Toner, which I love, but I rarely ever buy because it's so expensive. Another one, though, that is great is this Haru Haru Barrier Essence. I discovered this a couple of months ago. Oh my gosh. This is more emollient in comparison to the Celamax one. The Celamax one is a lot more hydrating. Feels more like a quenching liquid with a little bit of support to it, as far as there's a bit of texture, and it really, like I said, it glides over and hugs the skin. This will soften very quickly any flakiness that you have because it has more of an emollient property to it while still being lightweight. It's not an oppressive film, neither is that. But this is not as like quench as far as the sensory experience. It's more of a softening. Okay, love this two bits. Great around the eyes, wonderful options. I go back and forth between the two. Azelaic acid, which in cosmetic products can be helpful for improving the look of redness, dark spots, gently exfoliates, and also may help with breakout prone skin. Okay, the prescription stuff is an acne treatment, it's a treatment for melasma, and it's a treatment for rosacea. It's generally a well-tolerated ingredient. Might also be helpful, although the cosmetic versions, to what degree they're helpful for this is a question mark, but it also can be helpful for periorificial dermatitis, that nightmare condition that is pretty much identical in the way it looks under the microscope to rosacea and how it kind of behaves, but it looks much different and different triggers. Anyway, so Anua, I've worked with this brand before to promote this product, but this is their Azelaic Acid 10 Hyaluron, and this is fantastic. As far as an azelaic acid option, years ago, azelaic acid in the US market was not something you commonly encountered. Unless you were getting stuff prescribed to you, people were not using azelaic acid because it wasn't something that was widely encountered in skincare. Now we have a lot of great options. This is fantastic. The thing about azelaic acid is it's primarily used twice a day, and technically it can even be used 3 3 times a day. So it's nice to have it in a lightweight fluid formula that you can easily put on and layer things on over without this pilling issue. That is fantastic. It's very hydrating too, which I want to point out. The thing about hydrating your skin and improving water content, it can benefit those of you who sleep on it, who have blackheads, whiteheads, aka comedones, because what's happening is that you're getting epidermal maturation issues, right? You're getting those cells aren't quite maturing within the pore at a reasonable rate. They're getting stuck together into that little plug. And one way that can be improved upon is, yes, you can get in there and exfoliate with salicylic acid. Yes, you can use a topical retinoid to get down in there and start training the cells to behave and mature at a more reasonable rate. But you can also improve water content, which will optimize the environment for the enzymes necessary to allow for the epidermis to turn over efficiently. You know, there are all these enzymes in there and they require good water content to operate. When the water content drops, that's when things start to build on each other. That can be within the pore with pore clogging. That can be at the surface of the skin with dull, rough skin texture. Hydration can really help you out in those situations. That is a great option. Man, we have a lot of good stuff here. This is a hair product that has become a 2025 holy grail. This is the Virtue Healing Oil. So this is a silicone oil, which has worked out really well for me as someone with fine hair. I love a good silicone hair oil, but they can weigh down the hair and make it look greasy, especially if you have fine hair. That one has worked out really well. It's not heavy. It doesn't weigh down the hair, but it imparts a nice gloss, shine, ease, and manageability, and ultimately helps to cut down on breakage of those little fine baby hairs. So I have really enjoyed that. It is a pricier product, but it's amazing, and it's currently on sale for Black Friday. The other thing that you can get discounted for Black Friday on Amazon is iRestore Elite. Okay, so iRestore is a low-level laser therapy device that I personally have been using for years. I started with their professional device, and then when they came out with the Elite device, I upgraded to that, and it has been amazing because what these devices do, they help to improve 3 things. Circulation to the follicle, so that helps with delivering the nutrients necessary to grow hair, which is a very energy demanding task. Second, they help with the cellular metabolism of the follicle cells, getting them to re-enter the growing phase, reawaken, in a sense, dormant follicles. Third, they reduce inflammation, which, as a side note, can be particularly helpful if you're dealing with bouts of scalp itch. That reduction in scalp inflammation can really help, not to mention it favors a better environment for healthy hair growth. So I've been using that for years now. I absolutely love it. The biggest changes I've seen is A, a reduction in hair shedding, and B, an improvement in density and thickness. What it does is it keeps more hairs in the growing phase of the hair cycle. I also love that it's like really easy to use, hands-free. It's become part of my routine and it's amazing. It is an upfront investment, and I tell people this all the time. It only helps if you use it. So if you're not somebody who can keep up with stuff like that, then don't spend the money on it. But I've been recommending iRestore devices for years now. They're honestly the best in the market as far as hair regrowth systems using low-level laser therapy, which is evidence-based for an at-home option for hair restoration and can be used in conjunction with other hair loss treatments like minoxidil, spironolactone, finasteride, PRP. Anyways, guys, that's a wrap-up of some things that are majorly discounted for Black Friday. So I wanted to share those with you in case you're shopping around, but I hope you're enjoying the holiday. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.